Welcome to Step Zero. I'm your host, Kaitlin Henry. Today's episode is about a 3D printer, about whining, and about money. It's about how sometimes God uses our children to hold up a mirror that we didn't ask for, but we absolutely need. Ever been there? If you've been feeling financial pressure, if you've been in that in between space of, I'm okay, but I'm not fully secure, if you've been oscillating between some trust and panic, this episode is for you. Because this wasn't just a conversation with my son, it was a conversation with God. That happens to me often with my children. I always hear God speaking either through them to me or sometimes my words to them. I straight up sound like the way that God would speak to me is the way I speak to my children, and I can hear it so clearly. It just comes out, and I don't even expect it. So today I have a story. Finn, my 11-year-old son, calls me from his Apple Watch on the way to school. It's very cute. The days that he's with his dad, he calls me to and from school. And he says, Mom, the girls are here too. We came up with $250. Can you loan us an extra 50 so we can buy a 3D printer? I literally was laughing because he has this entrepreneurial spirit, of which I hope he gets a little bit from me, but likely, his father, but also my dad, his grandpa, was very entrepreneurial and always had good ideas. And the new rage now is to get a 3D printer, print stuff, fidgets mostly, and then go sell them to your friends. His friends have actually been making, a decent little income, and it's very cute. And most of his friends got these 3D printers for Christmas, but he doesn't have one. So he's feeling lack. So then I say to Finn, no, I'm not going to just loan you the $50, but we can come up with ways that you can earn the extra money. And even before I finish the sentence, he goes, I don't want to have to work for it. And I laughed because it wasn't disrespectful. It was just painfully honest. It was so human. And it was also so me. I literally felt like I woke up that morning having the same thoughts. I don't want to have to work for what I do. Why can't I just get paid for being me? And as I'm talking to him, I realize I have about two-thirds of what I need right now. So I'm stable, I'm surviving, I'm just not fully relaxed. I would like that passive income. I would like abundance that looks like not having to worry about any bills, the kind where you can donate to charities and not even think twice. And as a single mom with three kids, I have a mortgage, I have expenses, and there is a gap right now. So if I'm really honest, sometimes, again, I don't want to have to work for it either. I just want abundance to land. I want clients to just sign. I want these opportunities to just appear. I want it to feel easy. And then I hear myself telling Finn, I don't hear a lot of gratitude for this 250 that you already have. I'm really proud of what you've earned already, buddy. And then it hits me. That wasn't just my mothering, it was spiritual direction. So here's what I told him. Hey, bud, stay positive, stay grateful. We will come up with that $50 in no time. And then I compared it to some things in our life, like his piano lesson. His 30-minute piano lesson is about $50, right? That's an easy comparison for an 11-year-old. And then I said, even sometimes our Chipotle dinner for a family of four can be almost $50. $50 is not a mountain, but negativity can make it one. And so this is where I go deeper with clients with my mindset coaching, which I also use on my kids. When we focus on what's missing, our nervous system goes into this threat mode. We tell ourselves, I don't have enough. I am not safe. I don't feel secure. And from that state, that mindset, we actually shrink. We tighten. We stop seeing any options. But when we can anchor into gratitude for what is present, the nervous system softens and solutions can then appear. This isn't magic. This is perception because we can then see them. Money responds to energy. When I am in the flow of gratitude, I have had straight up miracles come into my life. Perfect story about this is I went to the car dealership last week and I got a nail in my tire. And I just looked up and I thought, oh my God, I can't afford another $500 tire. I think I replaced one not just 6 months ago. And I was sitting there like, all right, fine, just replace it. And I asked God in that moment, like, God, just please show me $500. I don't know where this is going to come from, but I'm grateful for what I have. Please just show it to me because this is a big expense. And I kind of let it go. And not within 3 to 5 minutes, I start thinking and I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom borrowed $500 so I could get money out of an ATM the week she was visiting. And she had written me a check for $500 that I hadn't yet cashed. I went and looked in my wallet. I pulled out the check and it said, Kaitlin Henry, $500. And I looked up at the sky and I laughed because I was like, oh my gosh, I just manifested $500. Now, granted, it hadn't been put back in my bank account, so I still was at a 500 negative loss because that was just the 500 my mom took out. And I almost got frustrated with myself because I was like, dang it, I should have asked for a $1,000 check. But at the same time, I asked for 500, I got 500 with a literal check with my name on it. And so that's how powerful we are when we shift our mindset from any negativity to a positive gratitude based mindset. And I don't mean any of this in a fluffy Instagram way. I really mean it like money flows towards value, value flows from service, and service flows from belief. If I believe I am lacking, I will hesitate. If I hesitate, I can't show up fully. And if I don't show up fully, the energy contracts. Again, it tightens. It sits in me and it can't flow. But if I believe I am already abundant, I move differently. I think differently. And therefore, I attract things into my life differently. Think of it this way. When you walk into a shoe store and the salesman is needy and needs you to buy the shoes and you feel his desperation, you can't even focus on the beauty of any shoes or which ones you want. But if you walk into a shoe store and the salesperson is indifferent, but still helpful, positive, but more effortless, you feel that energy and relax into making a good choice on a new pair of shoes that works for you and that fits your budget, by the way. So, to wrap with this story about Finn, I realized that we both needed to change our mindset. I told him, ask God where he needs you today, bud. Take small actions and ask your friends how they make money. And Finn said, they make money by using their 3D printer to sell fidgets. And then I smirked because that's exactly what we do as adults. I fixate on one solution and I've already decided that's the answer. That's the only way it can go. Or I ruminate on it over and over. We actually start to argue for our limitation. We think abundance has to look exactly one way. Instead of asking ourselves, where am I actually needed right now? Who can I serve? What skill do I already have? Or what conversation am I maybe avoiding to move forward? By staying stuck in one rigid outcome mindset, we block our creative flow. But God isn't limited. We are, and we can ask for God's help at any time. And if you don't believe in God, the universe, energy, whatever you think this flow of life is, ask it for help. It listens. I'm telling you, I started praying out loud and it started to work. And I'm like all about it now. So, in this moment with Finn, I realized that the role I'm playing as mother is the role that God plays in my life. God sees this 250 I already have. He sees the gifts, the sobriety, the resilience, the network, my voice, my story that he wants to use. But I'm over here saying, I'm $50 short. But now I hear a whisper. Now that I'm not cutting myself off with booze, now that I don't numb my intuition, I can hear this whisper. And it says, be grateful, stay positive, don't let this ruin your day. I can bring you the rest easily, but not if you block the flow with fear. That's surrender and action together. Gratitude is surrender. Service is the action. So before I hung up with Finn, I said, all right, can we pray for each other today? Let's pray to both receive abundance because the world is abundant and full of energy to bring us that abundance if we are willing to tap into that mindset. And that's all money is, buddy. It's just energy. He was like, "Okay, mom." I smiled because sobriety allows me to see this. If I were drinking, I would have reacted to him differently. I might have snapped or spiraled or projected my stress onto him. But sobriety gives me this space to observe, to pause, choose how I want to react. It's space to hear God in my own voice, space to recalibrate instead of react. And this is also what I realized. 1, I am abundant. 2, my energy attracts what I receive. And 3, I am a good mom because I'm sober today. And some days, that's enough. That's all I have to be. So today, in closing, I'd like you to maybe take some time to ask yourself, where are you complaining about a missing $50? Where are you blocking the flow? And what would you shift if you practiced gratitude before demanding more? I have the tools for this. If this episode stirred something in you, if you're at that in between place of I have some, but not enough, this is the work I do with my one on one clients. We uncover the beliefs blocking your abundance. We regulate your nervous system around money. We align your action with your vision instead of your fear. And you can book a free discovery call with me on KaitlinHenry.com, or you can always DM me on Instagram, Kaitlin.Henry. I really hope today's episode is a reminder that you are not behind. You are not lacking. Your energy might be focused on the wrong things. And remember, we don't have to hit rock bottom to choose growth. If you need help removing bad habits that might be holding you back in your life from even seeing this picture clearly, I'm here for that too. I'm so grateful that you're listening. I hope you heard something that keeps you coming back.